Happy Ohio Tech Day, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I am Julia Shimolinski. I'm from OCWIC, which is a chapter of ACM-W. Just a little bit of, if I can make this work. It's not working. Because of course it's not working, that's how it goes. So ACM-W is a community of women and men technology professionals. We are from industry, we are from academia, and we are dedicated to engaging and empowering Ohio women in computing by building out community, celebrating success, and illuminating possibility. We are one chapter of many within the country and within the world, but this is obviously Ohio Tech Day, so we want to make sure we're focused on the Ohio chapter. So welcome, and if you do have questions at the end about OCWIC, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll stay on at the end as long as anybody needs me to. I'm going to hand things over to one of my partners here, Melanie, who is from Ohio X, and she's going to give a brief introduction, and then you'll get to hear from our speakers, which is really why you're here.
Great, thanks, Julia. Yeah, I'm Melanie Bazzelli with UX Akron, and we are proud to be members of Ohio X, as well as the User Experience Roundtable. And the Roundtable is focused on helping to make Ohio a humane tech hub. So we seek to raise awareness of UX careers and improve UX capabilities in organizations and increase the professionalization of UX across the great state of Ohio. And we invite Ohio-based user experience leaders, professionals working in UX, and people interested in exploring UX careers to join our monthly User Experience Roundtable online meetings. You can attend Ohio X events throughout the year, like Tech Day today, and consider also having your company or organization become a member of Ohio X. So glad to be here to celebrate Tech Day with all of you.
Great. Thank you so much, Melanie. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we're going to hand things over to our first speaker, who is Gloria MacGillis, and she will be sharing a little bit about her version of exploring UX and talking about Wix in just a moment. So Gloria, take it away when you're ready.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm honored to be here. So my name is Gloria MacGillis. I'm the owner of a web design company called the Gloria Web Design in Medina, Ohio. So I want to talk about Wix and the future of web design. So in the next slide, we'll be watching a short video about Wix. So I'd like to know if anyone here has heard about Wix. If you have, could you please type it into the chat while we watch? Thank you.
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen, really going for it, doing business on your terms, giving it your all, making a difference, and loving what you do every single day. Feeling fearless, fulfilled, free. When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
Wow, we have quite a few people heard about Wix. That's actually more than I thought. That's great. So if you have ever Googled about web design, you probably get a Wix ad because they're pretty aggressive about it.
There's nothing more powerful.
So what is Wix? Wix is a do-it-yourself drag and drop website building platform. Wix is very powerful and very user-friendly. Wix charges a competitive monthly premium to allow average users to host their websites on their platform and enjoy their well-thought-out business solutions. Wix was created in 2006. The idea was born on the beach while the three original founders were building a website to be the basis of another startup idea. The tech-savvy trio quickly discovered that creating their own website was difficult, frustrating, and very costly. It was this agonizing experience that led them to a light bulb moment to build a platform that empowered everyone to create their own website with no coding or design skills needed. The user journey of creating a Wix website is quite pleasant. You can select a beautiful template from their library, which will be sufficient for most of the business types. Just like any website builders like WordPress or Squarespace, you can swap off text and images and make it yours. What makes Wix stands out is the flexibility to drag and drop almost anything around. And on the back end, Wix has many business solutions to help you run your business, like running a store, selling memberships that works with bookings, courses, and event tickets, the ability to handle restaurant orders, and run a hotel. So before we talk about the significance of the power of drag and drop, let's take a moment to understand some of the basics of web design. Typically, a website consists of three components. You have the header, the body, and the footer. But they are basically a bunch of boxes and what we call containers. Inside of each of these three big containers, we can have more containers. So you might have here is a banner containers, and over here we can call it a news container. And inside of the news, you have 3 column containers, and inside of that you have elements. So usually your logo and menu will be on your headers and copyright on the bottom, and sometimes contact information. So on every page, your header and footer will stay in place, and the body will change depending on what page you're on. So this is usually how website builders like WordPress, Squarespace, or Shopify structures a website. Users are typically provided with a template similar to this in most of the time. And they can't just drag any elements outside of their designated containers. If you want a certain elements to look a certain way, you have to do things their way. The power of Wix is that you can drag anything outside of their containers to anywhere. It was groundbreaking and required no technical knowledge to operate in such fashion. This all sounds great, right? You might wonder, if we have Wix, who needs web designers anymore? And that's the question that's asked by the future generation of designers. Well, here's why. No matter how user-friendly Wix is, or how tech-savvy an average user is, Wix satisfies the most basic needs of small business owners. It does not serve everyone. If a business owner needs anything outside of the provided templates, they are required to put together another page, working with another app or plugins. They will quickly find themselves limited in their ability to make things happen. The flexibility to drag and drop is a benefit of Wix. It can also get messy very quickly. The well-organized elements are no longer bound by their containers like other platforms. And that's why you will see a lot of amateur Wix websites have empty spaces, things placed randomly or extremely out of proportion with their headers and images. So for a while, that's the signature look of a website built by Wix, and that's unfortunately the bad rap. I have this website right here that's built by my client who has an enormous list of categories for his products. While a product filter is designed to help people find what they're looking for, in this case, he has overwhelmed his customers so much that they'd rather contact my client directly to place an order. An average business owner is not a designer. They don't know what to display on their homepage. That's the most important page of their whole website. They don't know how to make their font readable against a busy image or background, or structure the website the way it should so other people understand what's on their mind. The truth is, a website is a lot more than what you can see. And that's why you still need us web and UX designers and Wix partners. So how did I get started with Wix? I built my first website with pure code in 2017. The first moment I wrote a line of code and made it appear on the screen exactly as I want it to be has empowered me to do more with web design. I then started making websites on WordPress, which took away the repetitive part of web design. And I thought WordPress was the way. In 2020, I graduated from web and UX design schools, and unfortunately there was COVID and I could not find myself a job. However, I was hired by another Wix partner, and that was the first time I learned about Wix. I was being paid around $200 per website because creating a Wix website was viewed as non-technical and low-skilled work. Despite producing high-quality websites with my trained knowledge, for a while, I struggled myself to justify my worth. Early 2021, I did my research about Wix partner, and I decided to go for it myself. Having UX expertise, I named my sole proprietorship UX Glow. A stands for Andrea, my good friend and business partners. G as Gloria, myself. Ironically, we failed our first user testing. Our customers, who are typical business owners, did not know what UX was. And the word a glow is not as well as known word as you might think. Despite the failure in naming convention, I have managed to make a good living out of web design, applying UX and design methods into my work. Mid-2020, my husband and I finally made the decision to move to Ohio, his hometown. I said goodbye to Seattle, where I have lived for 12 years. I took the opportunity to officially become Glow Up Web Design LLC. Long name, but great for SEO in early stages of the business. With that, we continue to provide high quality websites with UX strategies in mind and started to offer more graphic services, user research, and social media marketing with help from Andrea, who's still in Seattle. So here are some examples of Wix websites we built with the classic editor. As you can see, you can build awesome websites with great user experience if you know how. All the capabilities are there. You just need to know how to use them and not to abuse its flexibility. Not only you can build beautiful websites with the classic Wix editor, the ecosystem which Wix has built works together to achieve many useful functionalities. There are also ways to implement CMS, encoding in JavaScript for those in need of a powerful database, and some actual wow. What amazes me the most is how fast Wix collects user feedback and improves their platforms to continue to be better and more useful to its users. As a Wix partner, I struggle myself to keep up with what's new with Wix on a daily basis. So despite the powerful functionalities and seemingly unlimited possibilities, Wix still struggles to get rid of the reputation of cheap website builder. Well, this video always have a problem. Hold on. So it still struggles to get rid of the reputation of cheap website builders and the end results built by non-designers. In early 2020, Wix launched Editor X, which is their first attempt to create a more sophisticated website builder platform for designers and developers. This is with Editor X. In competitions with site builders like WordPress, Editor X introduced us to what we used to know, the structures. Putting elements into containers goes a long way if you want your website to be responsive to all screen sizes. In competition with Webflow, Editor X is equipped with powerful animations and mind-blowing scrolling effects. Editor X was open to both partners and general public. However, obviously you need to be a little more technical to be able to know how to use it. So it confused a lot of average consumers. On top of that, Editor X did not work well with most of the Wix apps, the ecosystem we all love so much. And the price of the premium was double of the classic editor. For that reason, I had a hard time believing in the platform enough to sell it to my clients. And that did not fly with a lot of other Wix users either. The fall of Editor X is not in vain. Wix has compiled all the user feedback in order to make the next best thing happen. August 2023, Wix has launched the Wix Studio, a brand new designer editor that's only accessible to Wix partners, that has all the functionalities that Editor X has, but is more intuitive to learn and master. On top of that, Wix Studio claims that it works with all the Wix apps, and the price of the premium is mostly the same, with their most popular classic plans only a few dollars more per month. My reaction when I first heard about it was obviously sus. After Editor X, I had my reservations. But I was invited to sign up for a new editor onboarding event, and I chose to attend in Toronto, Canada last week. I was there for a 3 days workshop on the onboarding, coding with Bello, as well as the animation and scrolling effect. And let me tell you, the trip was well worth it. When they said Wix Studio is mobile responsive right out of the box, I thought, okay, cascading effect is not exactly that, but what they are talking about is using AI to determine the best layout for different screen sizes. With a click of a button, the Wix Studio AI will analyze your desktop layout and pull some strings and give all the elements the proper sizing and location. Now, if you think that's amazing, Wix Studio can also write your text content and generate images on your command. Aside from that, it can even write code snippets for you. Here you see I'm trying to tell the AI to give me an image with a white face wash bottle on a tropical setting. And it takes some time to think and generated 4 images for me. And I chose this one to apply, and I decided to use that one. So in the classic editor, you cannot use CSS. And now you can code your entire website with CSS. And if you thought the animation and scrolling effect was cool with Editor X, with Wix Studio, you can achieve more with less effort. The experience is smooth, and it adds an entire new dimension to your website. Wix Studio has truly made online scrolling a pleasant experience. So here's the question of the century. Will Wix or AI steal our jobs? The answer is no, not entirely. While Wix can provide templates and common solutions, it cannot provide 100% coverage to every individual's needs. AI can provide design suggestions, putting things together from the existing database and trend research, but it lacks true creativity, intuition, and the ability to innovate in the same way that human designers can. It cannot replace the depth of understanding and originality that a human brings to the design process. Web design is a collaborative and client-oriented process that often require a personal touch, empathy, and the understanding of individual client needs. AI cannot fully replicate these interpersonal skills. Designing for user experience involves understanding user behavior, psychology, and interaction patterns. Human designers excel in understanding nuances, culture contexts, and the subtle user preferences, therefore creating more intuitive and user-friendly interface that resonates with a specific audience. While Wix provides SEO features, a professional web designer can optimize a site more comprehensively for better search engine rankings. And just so you know, 90% of what I just said to answer this question was written by AI. But here's my own words. Wix and AI are tools that are great at helping humans with repetitive tasks and sparkling our creativity. It's up to us humans to decide and learn how to use it to our advantage. Do we know what questions to ask? How to ask a question to get to the desired result? When we get a response, do we know how to use it and how to prompt the next question. What should we do next? Wix and AI are assistants. They rely on human input to function. As humans, we need to know how to use our tools and coexist with the change. Templates on Wix are designed by humans. AI needs to be taught before they can answer questions. These tools can maybe make people lazy, but if you use them wisely, they can free up our time and allow designers to reach the next level of creativity. Again, Wix and AI would like you to learn more about them, understand their capabilities, and stay informed on their advancements. Recognizing AI in applications such as voice assistants like Siri, Google, and Alexa. Recommendation algorithms in Netflix, Spotify, and social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Develop technical skills. Learn their languages like Python, Java, or even C languages and AI frameworks. Learn web languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to work with Wix and other website design platforms. Be aware of the ethical implications such as bias, privacy concerns, job displacement, and the impact of AI on society. Engage in discussions about AI ethics, but embrace and adapt how fast Wix and AI evolves, and use them to enhance your productivity at work or personal tasks. Rely on them to remind and notify you of tasks and keep you on track. Utilize their insights to make informed decisions, understand AI-generated recommendations, and consider them in your decision-making process. Most importantly, be critical and question AI-generated outcomes and recommendations. Wix templates and plugin capabilities. Understand the limitations of AI systems and the Wix ecosystem. Use your judgment to validate information provided by AI and always test before launching a website. Determine when to rely on AI capabilities and when a human touch or intervention is needed, especially in situations that requires empathy, creativity, critical thinking, and ethical considerations. Thank you for listening to my thoughts on Wix and the future of web design. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions regarding this topic.
Great. Thank you so much, Gloria. That was awesome. And there's a comment also from Melody that it's excellent comments about creativity only through human brains. Excuse me. And thank you for clearly explaining the benefit of Wix assistance, but not replacement along with AI. So yeah, good call out. No tool is going to replace a talented human. That's just not how it works. So we can pretend it's not going to work. Thank you, Gloria. Does anyone have any questions for Gloria before we move on to awesome speaker number 2? Yes, we have something in the chat that did not scroll up for some reason. From Alex. Gloria, thank you for your presentation. I would like to know how you became a Wix partner.
So when I graduated in 2020, I couldn't find a regular job, so I was just looking anywhere, and I found this job post on Facebook Marketplace. Someone was looking to build websites on Wix. I never heard of it. I mean, I heard about it, but I barely worked with it. I was desperate, and so I said, sure, why not? And that's the first time I became a Wix partner. I mean, to work with somebody in Wix and learn a lot about it, was very impressed about it, and decided to learn more about Wix, how to become a Wix partner. So obviously there was like some sort of fee you have to pay every month to start collecting leads. And that gave me the exposures that I needed to have more clients to get my business rolling.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Any other questions for Gloria? Nope. Okay, we are right on time. This is perfect. We're right at the midpoint at 12:28. And we're going to continue exploring UX with Pearl Greene. I'm going to hand it over to you, Pearl. Thanks so much.
All right. I was on mute. Classic Zoom era. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen. Now, disclaimer, my voice is not as it used to be because it's only right that I get a cold the day before I have to do this. So apologies in advance. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about UX and navigating the evolution of design in tech, and also exploring how user experience design is beyond aesthetics. Okay. One second, small technical. Okay, here we go. So you might be wondering, who am I? A brief summary. My name is Pearl Greene, previously Gemega. I am Ghanaian, but then I live in the US full-time now. This is a picture on the left of myself, my husband, and my brother, my mom, and my aunt. This is my immediate family. I just visited Ghana a month ago, and this is like a statue of our first president. So something fun to to look at. I love cats. I have two, unless you're counting the third one I have in Ghana, who is now my mom's favorite cat. I am also a Melton Foundation Fellow, where I work with a team of global citizens all over the world. I serve on the grants committee, helping fellows fund social projects, social impact projects all over the world, India, China, the US, etc. So yeah, that's like a brief summary of who I am outside work. So let's talk about my professional journey. I have worn many hats in the few years I have been on this planet. So I got a degree in computer science from a beautiful college in one of the scenic cities in Ghana called Ashesi University. It was a liberal arts school. I was exposed to so much, including entrepreneurship, design thinking, which helped me frame my my decision, or it helped pave the path into UX for me. I've also, with my computer science degree, I have been a web developer, building websites, mobile apps, and data analysis, all of that. I also started a few businesses, which I've kind of let go along the way, from food prep services to online marketplaces. I've also worked with in the inventory management space, wearing the hats of being a user experience designer and rising up all the way to being the head of product eventually. So let's talk about how I actually ended up here. So also, heads up, this is going to be all about journeys, starting with mine. Initially, when I was in high school, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor. Everyone said, I look like a doctor, so I should probably go to medical school. I quickly realized that my brain did not work the way medicine wanted my brain to work, which is remembering things. I went for a robotics workshop and I realized, hey, this is actually in line with how my brain works, identifying random problems and trying to use robotics to quickly solve it. So this is how I switched from going down the medical path into tech. So I went to Ashesi University for my computer science degree. Along the way, I did a series of internships. I worked on different group projects. And that was when I also realized that I did not want to sit down debugging all day. The part of the web development process that gave me joy was identifying the problems, documenting how it was going to be solved. And surprisingly, most people in my class did not like that. So I quickly became like the front end person, the problem solver, and my friends did not mind, building whatever I've done and debugging. So it was also a happy accident when I graduated. I realized I didn't want to code, but then where do I fall? I went for a job interview, and there was a startup that they were just fresh off the bat. The CEO of the company needed someone to help him validate his business idea. So it was just the two of us, and I quickly realized that all of the work I was doing using my design thinking tools, my web development skills was actually user experience design. So I was like, oh, I've actually been doing this all this while, but I didn't realize that this was the field I was actually in. So happy accident into user experience design. I had no portfolio, but over the years, it's been about 5 solid years of actually doing UX, and I have built my skills through freelancing, working at this company. I'm currently a senior user experience designer with Sherwin-Williams, helping their store operations group modernize. So we can go into what UX is. We like to say UX, but it's user experience design. The International Organization for Standardization defines user experience as a person's perceptions and responses resulting from the use or expected use of a product, system, or service. People who plan and create for these experiences are called user experience designers, me. Case in point. So this is the user experience design process. There are different models. There's a double diamond model. I feel like this kind of gives you a good idea of all the steps it takes to go from idea to, or from problem to solution. First step is to research. This is where you meet the user, you meet your stakeholders, you try to understand all their goals and the issues that they're facing that are hindering them from achieving their goals. Second step is to walk a mile in the shoes of your user, try to imagine, process what they're going through. And we do this through user personas, we test, and we also create journey maps to map out all of the different steps in the process to identify all the pain points and all the systems a user would interact with to achieve this set goal. Next step is to create, to ideate, come up with ideas to solve these problems that were identified in the previous step. And then we use wireframes, mock-ups, to create solutions. And then we go test these solutions to the problems to see if it actually solves the problem. So this is where going away from it, yes, it has to look nice, but the core of it is identifying the problems and making sure that your solution actually solves the problem. Then once you're sure that, okay, this prototype is doing what it's supposed to do, then we hand over to the developers to build. The reason why we do all this testing before we hand over to developers is to make sure that the cost of changes are low. So it's way faster to build a prototype in Figma than having developers go build something for months and then you come back, you test, and you're like, oh, whoopsies, we solved the wrong problem, or this thing is just nice and no one can use it. So we work with developers and we also continue tracking the usability of whatever we've built to ensure that it is solving the problems and no new problems have come up, which is very common with websites. You turn off one fire and then a new one builds itself a few months later. Okay, so let's talk about what UX is not. Talked about what it is, but going into details, I want us to understand that it's not just making things look pretty. Yes, you need that first, wow, this is a beautiful website, but it can be beautiful if people cannot use it to achieve the goals, then you have achieved basically nothing. So rather than just aiming for aesthetics, user experience designers use a series of processes rooted in research and design principles to begin the design process. Users should always know at all times where they are and where they need to go. So this is navigation issues, one of the most common issues when it comes to user experience design. And whether they are avid visitors or first-time users, the information they seek and the path to the information that they seek should be easily accessible. Okay. So user experience is not going with your guts. It's very easy to sit in your room and imagine, oh, my cats have a problem where they can't realize that the squirrels on my screen aren't, okay, this is probably a very bad example because you can't really talk to the cats, but it's very easy to imagine what problems are and come up with solutions. Now, for user experience, for products and services, if it's the house, research is the foundation. So as user experience designers, we don't just guess what the users need, what they want and what they feel. You need to go out there, talk to them. So it involves a lot of travel. So you have to be ready for that if you're considering UX. And walk a mile in their shoes to understand their needs, their motivations, the way they work now, to make sure that you're able to identify the pain points to create solutions for them. So going with just your gut could mean ignoring some very important aspects of users' needs that matter the most in determining the success of a company's product, service, or overall customer satisfaction. Okay, time check. Okay, so let's talk about design's journey into UX. So we talked about my journey into UX. We talked about what UX is and what it's not. And now we're talking about UX itself. So before the 1900s, UX has always played a part in society. We'll go into details a little bit, but all of these products, services, artifacts have paved a way to make what UX, user experience design, is today. So we can go into the details now. So before the 1980s, design was focused on functional user interfaces. So the goal here was functionality. It was all text-based. User interaction was very limited to command line inputs. Everything was keyboard-based. And the main goal was to make the technology work without much consideration of how people are going to learn how to use it. And believe it or not, there are many companies today who still have functional user interfaces in 2023. I'm not going to name names, but it's very interesting trying to identify all of the issues that came with this, with very huge learning curves, from 6 months to learn how to use an interface just to get one, just to use it, 6 months. Quickly, things transformed into graphical user interfaces, where the pioneers of this were Apple and Microsoft. So this is when icons came in, windows came in, you could use your mouse to navigate, and things became more accessible to users. So this was between the 1900s and 1990s. Then the World Wide Web came about. And this brought a new focus into web design. Designers started to explore concepts like layout, typography, imagery for websites. And as the web evolved, the emphasis on user-centered design and usability became more pronounced. So UX today. The evolution of design in tech has been marked by a shift from functionality-based interfaces to user-centered, visually appealing, and accessible designs. Okay, so from the 2000s to now, user-centered and human-centered design got championed by my guy, Nelson Norman, whose resources I use every single day, even though like most of his articles are from like the early 2000s. I feel like they still ring true today. So these form the basis of what UX is today, which focuses on empathy, understanding your users, and going through design processes like using personas, employing usability testing, and having an iterative approach to create products where once you build the website or the app, you're not done. You keep testing to make sure that you're catching all the issues that arise, because like there's no one way. You can never just imagine a solution, build it, and all your problems are solved. Has never happened before. So it's a very iterative process. And then we went into the era of minimalism and flat design. Apple and Google have really taken this concept and run with it since the 2010s. So before the 2010s, systems used to be very cluttered, it's very difficult to navigate, and maximalism was key. But now we have very clean interfaces. I struggled a little bit to enter this minimalism phase because I was a maximalist. In case you can't see from my background, I love my bright colors. So it took a while, but it helps the user focus on the task ahead. So again, going away from aesthetics and trying to focus, zero in on the steps the users need to get to where they need to be. Okay, then we went into design systems, which have become integral to maintaining design consistency. And it's been a breath of fresh air because things like material design, ant design, all of these give you components that already have like code tagged to it. So it makes building apps, websites, very easy, very quick, and also handing off to development is very simple because most of the time, sometimes you can just connect your Figma to a plugin and it generates code for you thanks to design systems. Finally, we also have a growing awareness of the importance of inclusive and accessible design, ensuring that technology is usable by all people of all abilities. And this involves compliance and accessibility standards like the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Now we even have plugins that connect to your design software to help guide you to make sure that you are designing for all the differently abled people of the world. Okay, so now looking forward, and the biggest question now in the state of things as AI is getting smarter and smarter is if AI is our friend or our foe. Designers are also exploring novel ways to create immersive and intuitive experiences in the emerging technology domain. I also just wanted to point out, like Gloria mentioned, that AI cannot replace the creative skills and problem-solving abilities of humans, and it also cannot replace the human touch when it comes to understanding the user's needs and creating an intuitive user experience, because it's all the psychology, so many things come together to create a beautiful user experience, which cannot be replaced. The role of user experience designers is expected to evolve rather than be replaced, and AI will continue to play a role in the field of user experience design. So let's go into the details. So the first one would be, this is the future. I mean, we're kind of already one step in, but as time goes on, virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and voice over internet protocols, all of these would need would pose very interesting design challenges for designers. Because before we're just, we're designing for mobile and iPads, web. Now we have so many spectrums to design for, and user experience designers need to, up their skills and try to figure out how to transfer all of these skills into these different technologies. Now, the next thing will be utilizing AI for efficiency. I like to work smart. And one of the biggest challenges with UX, especially in a corporate setting, is trying to get stakeholder buy-in for the time it takes to build a wonderful user experience, especially the research part of things. It takes time because you need to go out there. There's travel involved, talking to the users, coming back, analyzing all the data that you get. Trust me, that's like the most tedious, very interesting, but it can get very boring very quickly. So trying to analyze all of this data and trying to build this experience takes a lot of time. So I believe in using AI to make this process as simple as possible and as quickly as possible. Efficiency is key here. So we have AIs that enable natural language processing to help you analyze and understand user-generated text. So you have an interview, you can just pull out the transcripts, feed it to AI, and it gives you sentiment analysis, it gives you interpretation. We also have AIs that can do voice, video, and image recognition. So we have AIs that can help automatically create transcripts. They learn how you talk. They can tag codes, they can categorize, they can search visual content, making it so easy to find what you're looking for and to synthesize data. Especially, I love the transcript parts because as someone with an accent, navigating software and trying to get transcripts has been very difficult. And AI is helping to make sure that all of us are included. And making life easy for all of us. And finally, we have AI algorithms that can analyze user interactions with websites, apps, identifying pain points, and suggesting design improvements. So all of these can come together to make us as efficient as possible. So the final section here is your potential journey into UX. So knowing if UX is the path for you. So if you already have these skills, empathy, communication, problem solving, time management, creativity, paying attention to details, an empirical mindset, which is ensuring that you don't just make assumptions, you like to prove your points through data and numbers, good storytelling skills, being an advocate for people, because user advocacy is the biggest thing, resilience. You'd have design critiques where they'll tell you this doesn't work, like this will not work. You need to be able to pick yourself up and build again. Or if you test and you fail, which happens so many times, you need to be able to keep going. Active listening, because research is the foundation and you need to talk to people. And finally, being able to collaborate with all the different teams to build a wonderful user experience for your users. Additional technical skills include user research, information architecture, which is structuring and organizing information effectively, wireframing and prototyping using tools like Figma, Sketch, Adobe XD to create prototypes. Visual design, which includes graphic design principles, typography, color theory, because visually appealing interfaces is one step to making sure users are satisfied. Usability testing skills and accessibility skills. So these are extra skills that you need to learn if you're considering user experience as a career. Okay, so if you have any questions and comments, this is the time. I hope I didn't take too much time. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Greene there. You can go to my website. We can continue the conversation from there. And if you are considering UX as a career, Google is your friend. It was my friend and it helped me get into the field. There's UX Akron where you can get a very big network of mentors, people who can guide you. I'm also very happy to help in any way I can. All right. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble for 20 minutes or more.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was fabulous. You weren't rambling at all. It was great. Thank you. We do actually have a question for you from Alex in the chat. Pearl, thank you for doing UX justice by explaining what we do in such a clear way. I'm a Romanian UX designer who recently moved to the US. Side note, in the middle of Alex's question note, Gloria came from somewhere else. Pearl came from somewhere else. Alex, you did. I was born somewhere else. I think about half this group is immigrants, which makes me incredibly happy for what a great diverse background we have for not just UX, but tech on this call. So yay. But anyway, your question, if you don't mind sharing, please, would you describe your professional experience transitioning from Ghana into the US in Ohio? What were some challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Thank you very much for your question. It's a very hard thing to navigate. I definitely didn't expect it to be that hard because in Ghana, I knew people, I was well networked, I was in UX Ghana, I was comfortable with the way I talked, I have my accent. So moving here, I had a good job, I was very stable, okay. Then I moved here, there was green card issues, it was like so backlog. I couldn't work here for like 7 months when I moved here. And then the layoff started happening and everyone was getting up like, why did I choose to come here at this time? So it really hits my self-confidence because I felt like I had arrived before I came here and I applied to hundreds of jobs. I was getting ghosted. It was very painful. I feel like I did face some issues. Like before my name was Gemega, I switched it to Greene. Unfortunately, I did get more hits on LinkedIn when I did that transition. There's so many like issues that come, like people see my work history and like, oh, you're from Ghana, do you need sponsorship? The fact that you need sponsorship just like removes you from a list. It's so crazy. And people just make assumptions. I didn't need sponsorships, but people just make assumptions and not talk to you again. So it was a crazy experience. If there's anything that helped, it was UX Akron. Networking helped me get my first job. I sat by a guy who was looking for a user experience designer. And that's how I got my first job. Not my skills, nothing. Just like, oh, I need one. Okay. And then that's how I got in. And because I had secured a job, then it made it easy for me to move into Sherwin. I also polished up my LinkedIn. I also, it's sad, but then I had to like do some massage the information there about myself a little bit so I can get the hits. And once I was able to be processed by the AI and all their biases, I was able to get this job. So it's sad. I wish it was more streamlined and easier for those of us who transition to new countries, but there are too many hurdles and it shouldn't be like that. So I hope I answered your question.
To elaborate on that, I completely agree with you, Pearl. It is very difficult for those of us who came from a different country, like myself, came from China when I was 19, and I don't have a green card until I got married in 2019. And because of that, I don't have work experience. And how do you find a job? And you graduated in 2020 and then COVID hits and, there's just a lot of roadblocks. And so, but I mean, for me, myself, I gave myself a job. So I made it.
Yeah. If there's anything, just network because you need to get over that screening process. And there are so many biases. So once you are able to get to the people who need you, because people are hiring, it's just don't be shy, like brag about yourself. It's something I had to get over because Ghanaians are very humble. but you need to learn how to sell yourself when you're out there to make sure that you can stand out when you're physically there. So UX Akron, shout outs to you guys.
Thank you. Yes, we're glad to be here to support the UX community in Northeast Ohio. It's awesome.
And immediately following this, I know we're coming up on time, so just want to let you know before folks have to drop, I'm sending out a follow-up email that will include Melanie as our Ohio UX or Akron, UX Akron in this case, focus to make sure that you can connect, as well as Gloria and Pearl. Their LinkedIn information and a lot has been added here, and there have been some other great comments that are all thank yous and fantastic session, which is great. And also Keith shared a Ohio UX calendar of events. So please do keep an eye on that as well. A lot of great stuff. Are there any last minute questions? As I said, I can hang on. I just want to be sensitive to everyone's time. I know we may have to lose some folks. So any last minute questions for our speakers? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. This was fantastic. This was the first in our 2023-2024 speaker series from OCWIC, and it's really wonderful that we were able to partner with Ohio UX, Ohio X for Ohio Tech Day. So hashtag post this on your social, make sure it gets out there. I will be sharing also with this group, as well as really with the broader OCWIC community and anybody who wants to share, the link to the video once I get that posted on YouTube. And after that, we do have some other things in the works. There's another contact who is interested in sharing a little bit about bridging the gap between the professional world and academia, or between the industry world and academia. So that's going to be coming, I think, in December. More to come on that. We're still nailing down some things. If you are interested in speaking, there will be a link to that as well, because Gloria and Pearl did an awesome job and set a great stage for it. But that doesn't mean all of you don't have wonderful things to share. So please do. We'd love to learn from you. Spread the word and have a lovely, wonderful, amazing rest of your day. Thanks, everybody, for joining.